Hello, listeners. This is Lee Price.
This is Will Ford from Football 365.
And you're listening smartly to At the Bridge Pod, a Chelsea FC podcast, although I would describe it as the Chelsea FC podcast.
Magical from Eden Hazard. Kai Havertz in the Champions League final. Ivanovic! In the middle, it's just behind him. But it's swept in by Hakim. Matic with the ball driver. Matic takes the net off. Hat-trick hero. Cole Palmer wins an epic, sensational game.
It's time for another episode of At the Bridge Pod, your number one Chelsea FC podcast. Coming up on this episode,
Frank Lampard's Coventry won again. Get in there, Frank. Go on. Oh, welcome back, everyone, to another episode of At the Bridge Pod. I am joined in the virtual room, filled with some lions. I've got Chris. I've got Ollie. I have no cat yet. Tom is not here yet. He might join. I don't know. But moments of the weekend. What were they, team? Come on.
I had a nice time visiting family this weekend. I said I was going to go visit family, and that was what I was looking forward to. And you know what? It really paid off. I had a really nice time. Saw some people I hadn't seen in a little while. It was good.
Hey, awesome.
That's very nice.
Chris,
I haven't got one. I spent the whole weekend in bed.
hello.
And not for a good reason.
I couldn't resist. Oh no.
Yeah, I said I was going to spend the weekend recovering. It's Monday. I haven't recovered. So,
oh man, this pod's gonna help. It's gonna.
You're
help.
on that rehabilitation program.
Yeah, he's rehabilitating.
yeah, I am now the pod's Reece James.
Yeah. Oh no. Oh dear. Oh, listener, Tom has now joined me in the virtual room. He's here. I don't know what his highlight of the weekend was. I didn't knock anything on the floor for him to eat, so that's always a win for me. I'm very clumsy like that. But where I am heading for my moment of the weekend is to America. I'm heading to the MLS. I'm heading to LAFC because their game against Minnesota, they honoured, and I thought it was fucking awesome. They honoured the LA Fire Department, obviously, who battled those horrific LA wildfires this year, and they honoured them with this incredible tifo. And I have put it on the socials, so take a look. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it for me, I think that's going to be one of the top 10 of the year. It is so good.
Hang on, let me find it.
It's on our social. It is on our social.
I haven't seen it either.
If you just type in LAFC and tifo, you'll see it.
No, Mikey, I'm going to the source. You're
going to At the Bridge Pod.
Yeah, of
great.
Course.
So we're really great breaking exclusives that it's nothing to do with us. It is. If you scroll, how many? When did I tweet it? Tweeted it a while back.
We tweet so often.
Oh, it's so cool. Oh, it's so cool. It says LAFC for our heroes. It is so cool. It's like, oh, I love tifos. Oh man, so cool.
You retweeted it, or did you just tweet it?
Yeah, I quote tweeted it.
Right. Okay. Looking for it. I'll find it.
This is live, listener. I know. And
yeah, that is good.
Yeah, it's. I love when they raise the tifo as well. When they raise the tifo for the first time, I just love that. It gets me. I am very easily pleased with tifos, but this one, because of what it means and everything, I was like, that's special. I love that.
Do you know what? People say a lot about, like American sports and things like that, and their impacts on football. But I think one thing that maybe it's not solely an American thing, but the tifo feels like a very American concept that like football has kind of taken on and quite likes.
Oh yeah, I definitely feel. I mean, I don't know.
Maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe tifos harken back to like I don't know, like the Austrian league in the 1930s or something. And I just don't know. But
the word tifo comes from the Italian word typhus, which means fever, and it's used to describe a large-scale display of support by fans at a sporting event, especially a football match. It
don't really see them in this country, though, do you?
No.
Because you'd need 17 different committees to work out what you were going to put up.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah,
that's true. Before we do head to the news, I just want to highlight an incredible initiative coming up by our partners over at Head in the Game. They've got a free 12-week mental fitness football program aimed at improving both mental and physical well-being for men over 18. The first session kicks off in Dartford on Thursday, the 20th of March at 7:30 at Goals Dartford. It's a fantastic opportunity to connect and obviously you stay active. You support each other, through football. We've shared the details on our social media, literally on all our social media. And if you or someone you know could benefit, check it out. Obviously,
check it out. If I'm in the area, I'd love to take part.
I would definitely go, because this year's been a bit shitty for me, but I many a reason. But you know what? It's a great thing, and that's why we partner with them, because they're incredible what they do with their work. So yes, listener, check it out, please. And well, I will hit the news jingle, because it's where's the news jingle? News. There we go. But now I have to cue the fanfare. I genuinely thought this segment was going to be a one and done on Friday. Appears not. We have another piece of PR being pushed out, team.
No, surely you knew this was not going to be a one-off.
Well, I hoped. This time it was delivered all over Twitter on Sunday morning, stating senior sources at Liverpool, Arsenal and other clubs believe that Chelsea's model is going to work and fear Chelsea's ambition. There's a feeling that if Chelsea stick together when players return from injury, mostly after the nearing March international break, the club can charge up to the league and claim Champions League qualification. Do you want to comment, or do we just move on?
I'm gonna call. You know what? I'm just gonna call back to the famous rapper and visionary Kendrick Lamar when I say they not like us. That's it.
Honestly, if you know what, it's not PR, but I could have fucking cried when I saw Man City apparently linked to Diogo Costa went to replace Edison. I'm like, oh, it's not fair. Why can't our ownership go, oh look, should we replace a player we really need with a top class one? No. 19-year-old, that'll do. Potential.
I think we need to stop we need to replace the word the letters PR with two other letters that this actually is.
Bullshit.
Yes.
I mean, Chris, you know what the worst part is? Our best two goalkeepers are on loan.
Yeah.
How bad is that?
The most ridiculous part of that statement is when players return from injury, like we was in glittering form before them lot was injured.
Oh, yeah.
We was losing games before Nicholas Jackson got injured.
That is true.
We was losing games before Fofana got injured. So them coming back ain't going to suddenly feel like, oh well, there you go. We'll be winning games for fun now.
And not to mention, they're like, oh, like at the start of April, there's like 8 games left in the season.
I know. But you've all missed something.
Leaving it a bit late, boys.
Someone pointed out that since Mudryk was made unavailable, we haven't been winning games. I'm like, that's a reach. Oh my word, that's a Grand Canyon level of reach.
He weren't.
I choose to believe
playing
it.
in them either.
No, I know. I was like, come on. I mean, I know we like some copium in this fan base, but come on, guys. It's just
Mudryk's only fan on this podcast. I agree.
Oh, dear me. I don't think there was nothing else. I saw Jim Ratcliffe did another Jim Ratcliffe thing, which is just standard. I mean, like I said, we're critical of our ownership, and we have a right to be. However, it could have been worse. Jeez,
yeah, it could have been worse.
Yeah. Well, we're going to go straight to winners and losers. Yay! We headed to the Midlands. Yay! To take on Aston Villa. I didn't even cue the bloody sound clip up. You can see how much I don't want to talk about it. I'm like, fuck, Right. So with that, hang on. I'm getting there, listener. Here we go. What happened when we took on Aston Villa? The Villa Park faithful were treated to a chaotic, seesawing contest that ended with a gut punch straight out of Chelsea's How to Lose a Football Match playbook. New boys Marcus Rashford and Marco Asensio linked up perfectly, dragging Aston Villa from the abyss to a last gasp statement win over a bewildered Chelsea side. The Blues, they started like a football team with a purpose. Pedro Neto, the human glitch in the Matrix, turned Ian Maatsen into a training cone before firing a low cross that Enzo Fernandez merely had to breathe on to send past Emi Martinez. But in classic Chelsea fashion, the joy was fleeting. Enter Rashford, who, after a spell on the naughty step at Manchester United, emerged in claret and blue like a man reborn. Matty Cash supplied the goods, Rashford delivered the tap across, and Asensio showed up at the back post for a goal so scrappy, should have been wearing a high-vis vest. The VAR overlords checked, nodded, Villa were level. Then came the closing act, the tragedy, the heartbreak, the moment Chelsea fans have grown numb to. With the 90th minute looming, Rashford and Asensio combined again, but they had an unexpected accomplice, Chelsea's own Philip Jorgensen. The keeper took one look at Asensio's effort, considered his options and opted for, let's just let this one slide through, yeah? Game, set, Villa. Cole Palmer had a chance to be the hero, but instead he did his best impression of a loading screen, delaying his shot long enough for Ezri Konsa to reset the universe and clear the ball. Meanwhile, Ollie Watkins took enough shots to fill an action movie, but forgot the part where the hero actually hits the target. With the win, Villa climbed to 7th, Chelsea stay in the land of limbo, and Enzo Maresca is probably in a press conference right now saying, I think we played well. Oh, Aston Villa 2, Chelsea 1. We kick off with the winners, as always. Who have you got, and how many have you got?
But hang on, but before we jump into winners, first of all, that was a good rundown, Mikey. I thought that was an excellent little
thank you.
jump
Thank
in
you.
about generally how the game went. I think it's worth saying that despite it not being the result we wanted, I thought this game was better than the last two Brighton games.
That was a mighty low bar we set.
It is,
Yeah.
but you know what? The only way was up, and we went up.
That's
You are,
true.
you are, he is right. The performance was better, but the concerning thing is that if you play better and still lose, then what are we waiting for then?
Oh, look, how many winners and losers have you got?
I'm 3-3.
I'm 3-3.
I'm 2-3.
I've got because look, technically, I'm surprised Chris didn't go not a single player. I have got a single player. I've got two, and they're
I've got
duoed.
2 players.
Oh, okay. I wonder if you've got the same ones because I've got a duo of winners. I've got Pedro Neto and Enzo Fernandez.
Yeah, they were my
Yeah,
two players.
Now-
Those are my 2 as well.
Look, we'll go through
Says
them.
it all.
Look, they were the only 2 players for me that stood out. I mean, that's why I put them together because I was like, I promised the listeners I'd be positive. I promised I'd try and get 3 winners every week, and I have. Doesn't mean they're all going to be players for us, but I'm going to do it. So I thought, I mean, what did I think? I thought Pedro Neto, I thought he was exciting in his new role. I didn't know if he could do it. He did. I mean, he created chaos and he chased down so many balls. Enzo, though, bloody hell, man. I mean, he pressed. And you know what? He showed passion. You know, I've been critical of his captaincy because of everything that went on in the summer. On the pitch, he showed like he gave a shit. He was knackered at the full-time whistle and he just looked drained physically and emotionally, probably like most of us on the sofa at home. I mean, but both of them, you know what? You can hold your heads up high because you left that game where no one could go, you had a bad one. No, they were good for me. But go on, take the floor. Why were they winners for yourselves?
First of all, I thought it was interesting to see Pedro Neto in sort of the false 9. It's I know he's played there like once or twice for Wolves when he was playing for them, but we haven't seen it for us at all. He's definitely been an out-and-out winger 99% of the time. And actually, I really liked him in that role. He was doing everything that Nkunku doesn't do as a striker, you know, like making runs in behind. I was even actually mildly impressed with his hold-up play, considering he's not a physical lad at all. And you know, obviously created the first goal more or less all by himself. Just thought he had a good game, and I think for his first game in that new position like that, I came away from that performance wanting to see him do it again.
Chris.
Yeah, same. I thought he did everything you'd want, really. Work rate off the ball, gave us an option of playing longer and a bit more direct as well by making runs into channels, and it puts him into areas where he's comfortable because he's a winger. So when he runs those channels, he ends up out wide. That's part of the game that he's used to. Created the goal really well. I would have just liked to have seen him be in and around the box a bit more because he did do a lot of running into channels, which was great, but we didn't actually threaten the goal very much.
No, unless he had runners with him like Fernandez for the first goal.
Because that was the problem. I thought after the first goal, when he was making the runs into the channel, no one was occupying the central space, which was a problem. It wasn't his fault. It's just it'd be nice to see what he's going to be like in that position, but actually in front of goal as well. And then Enzo Fernandez scored the goal, played with energy, did some okay things on the ball, but actually at the end looked like the only player who realised that we'd just lost a game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
right.
looked devastated, didn't he? And he really fought for everything in that game.
Yeah, because all the others, again, it was like the token gesture. Oh, that's a shame. Right, let's get out of here. Let's get back on the coach. he actually looked like he genuinely cared. I think some of the other players should be taking note from him at the moment.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
I fully agree.
He's got the attitude at the moment, which like you can kind of tell he really hates to lose. So it must be really hard for him at the moment playing for us. But it was nice to see that attitude. It was nice to see him like trying to drive the team forwards, even in the late stages. I know he gave away a few balls. I think he even gave away the ball that eventually resulted in their winning goal. And that can't be understated because that is an error that would have cost us the game if I'm remembering that rightly. But overall, I thought I thought he ran things. Do you know, Chris? Do you know how you said a little while ago it was the first game Enzo had played where you thought he had a better game than Caicedo? I think that was the second one.
Yeah, I agree. I think
Caicedo wasn't even bad.
No, do you know? But I think the problem with our games at the moment is you've got Enzo and Neto, who was the standout two players for us in the game. Neto made a goal after, what was it, like 8 minutes? And then didn't really have any other significant impact on the game. Enzo Fernandez played a really good game, but gave away the ball for their second goal and played the player onside for the first goal. That's where we're at the moment. That even our best players aren't that good. And I think that's one of the main reasons why we're in this such poor run of form, that the players who are standing out are still only having average games. I think
for every good thing they do something that's almost as brain dead.
When we was in good form, I think you could have gave Neto and Enzo these exact same performances in a game when we was in that 5-game winning streak, and no one would have picked them out. I think that shows how far the level of all the other players has dropped off significantly.
But maybe that also says something about those two specifically as well, how they're able to sustain their level.
In this game as well.
In that game specifically, I suppose, because Neto's been a bit hot and cold, I suppose. But
yeah, I think both of them in this game, though, they turned up like they wanted to get the 3 points. And they actually carried it through for the entire game. Whereas I think others, we started the game really well, but then others seemed to fade away. And I think that's the problem at the moment. We haven't got enough players who want to take it through to the end. I mean, the end of this game, we're 2-1 down with 2.5 minutes of injury time left. The ball goes out for a throw-in. We're walking. We literally walk over to pick the ball up for a throw-in. We've got 2.5 minutes left and you're losing. What are you doing? Play with some urgency.
No, you're right. Ollie, who's your final winner?
I've gone with Aston Villa's sporting director. Notice there I said director, one, singular. Monchi, I think his name is, because what a blinder. You sign Asensio and you sign Rashford in January and they win you 3 points just like that. It just goes to show what actually being proactive in the January window, looking for the right opportunities, putting your hand in your fucking wallet every now and then, and actually, trying to give the team some experience at the top level will actually win you games. Who'd have thought?
You know what it is as well? When you look at Villa are a really good example because they're in a similar position to what we are. They're trying to get into those top 4 places. They're not trying to win the league at the moment. They're trying to close that gap and be a consistent top 4 team, just like we are. Their sporting director isn't worrying about the age of the players they're signing. It's can they actually improve the team? That's because that's realistically when you're making a transfer, that's the only thing that matters. Do they improve the team?
Correct.
Because if they do, then sign them.
Correct.
And that's what they've done. Asensio's not young. He must be knocking 30 by now. He's been around forever. So Rashford, again, he's not a young player who's going to increase in value. But they are players who came into their team and was better than what they already had. And like Ollie said, and then they've won them games. And it isn't the first time. Rashford was good against Liverpool as well. But our sporting directors care more about, well, are we going to get any value back when we sell them, rather than actually what can they do for the team now?
Or are they going to be good in sort of 3, 4, 5 seasons' time?
Exactly.
And yet we're all screaming out for something that can help us today.
Yeah. My second winner, was a 53-year-old Aston Villa scarf. And that's
Oh, I
because,
saw that story.
see, that's because, listener, this has to be, for me, one of the most heartwarming stories of the season. After the Villa-Liverpool game, which Chris just mentioned, a Villa fan lost their 53-year-old scarf, and it was something for them, had huge sentimental value, and they took to Twitter, they shared where they'd last had it, and they just hoped someone might have picked it up, might have seen it. Enter another Villa fan who saw this tweet, and this is where you think, oh, they found it. Gets better. They got in their car and they drove around Edgbaston to find it, and they found it. And it has been recovered and returned to the rightful owner. And I love, not because we all, you never know. You go, oh, I saw that tied up there. They actually went out and looked for it. And I thought that was absolute incredible community spirit. I love that. And, you know, everyone knows by our voices that we're local to the Midlands. And to know that, it just gives you, it just makes you feel warm. I loved that so much.
Do you know what was really nice as well? Is like, yeah, like you said, there was huge sentimental value in it because his mum had knitted that scarf.
Oh, wow.
You knitted, like there was a Aston Villa crest on it, and she had hand sewn that crest onto it, I believe.
That's awesome.
And like you said, like 50-year-old scarf, you know, clearly it's got massive value to him, and you know that it's a rare example of the internet and specifically Twitter X, whatever you want to call it, doing some good for the world.
You're right. Yeah, 100%. And finally, the final winner. It's me. Oh, 2 weeks in a row. How did I do it? Why? Because I started playing Marvel Rivals on Xbox, and you know what? I'm not shit at it. I'm actually all right. So there you go, listener. If you want to team up with me or whatever, drop me a DM and I'll add you an Xbox. I'm dead serious.
Fucking struggling for winners, weren't you?
No. With that, losers. If we all have the same losers, I would be so impressed. Of course, no, because no one's shocked. I've got a lead, haven't I? Oh, who's my first loser?
Play the horn. Play it.
I am not giving you that. But Ollie has just actually I weren't going to go this way, but I've got no choice now. That was my third loser, but I'll put him in there. Yes, I can't defend him. I'm on about Jorgensen. Look, I can't defend him. I won't defend him. That was a howler of epic proportions. And we know if it was Sanchez in goal, we would be sharpening them pitchforks. We'd be demanding change. We would be setting up a petition on the UK government website titled Drop Sanchez Now. Look, if I did have a sad Viking horn, I would be standing on a hill right now, blowing it into the night sky. It was absolutely awful. Oh, I found it. I can't believe
Here's a question about Jorgensen, because he's on my list as well, for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Is that mistake worse than any mistake Robert Sanchez has made this season?
No, it's not even half as bad as the one against Man City.
Because that was Sanchez consistently makes mistakes. Jorgensen's made one that led to a goal. You can't defend it.
The thing is I actually thought Jorgensen had a pretty good game other than that moment, and we've said the same of Sanchez this season. So you have to point it out, but ultimately he's thrown it into our own net at the dying minutes of the game and cost us the match.
That's the thing.
At the end of the day, when you're a goalkeeper, when you make mistakes like that, it does impact games, and so you have to point it out. And it's just he literally lets it dribble through him. It's like it's goalkeeping basics. It's absolutely inexcusable. But what I did say about Jorgensen, and I've said it for some time, how many errors has Sanchez made leading to goals? 5.
It's a record.
I said until Jorgensen makes that many, I don't want Sanchez back in, so he's got 4 to go.
Look, humble me, listener. Humble me. I look at the goalkeeper position for a top club, and let's keep saying we're a top club because eventually it will come true again. You get how many times as a goalkeeper you've got to be alert for that one shot, because you might only get one shot on target from the opposition, and you've got to stop it. You've got to keep it out. That's why there's De Gea. I always liked De Gea because he could have quiet games, but he would make that one stop, and that's what you got to do. And Jorgensen, obviously, that's top class, isn't it?
That is what top keepers do.
But it's,
top keepers who play for top clubs, that's what they have to do. They have to make the one save they shouldn't make at the time they shouldn't make it, even if that's the only thing they have to do that game.
Yeah, it takes an incredible amount of concentration to be a top level goalie.
Yeah, we don't have one. Jorgensen isn't better than Sanchez. He's not. He just isn't. He's no worse, but he's no better either.
The only thing that makes him better for me is, and this might change if he continues to make mistakes, is that he is currently does inspire more confidence in the defence ahead of them than Sanchez does. But that's
true.
And
he's
younger for what that's worth.
It's the old adage in NFL that they say that if you have two starting quarterbacks, you have none.
You have none.
But we kind of have two starting goalkeepers, but not in the sense of when we had Cech and Courtois. It's just, but they're both kind of shit. And that's, you're more likely to see improvement from Jorgensen because of his age, while Sanchez, I think, is who he is.
You know what's funny though? I think you could extend that to our squad. No, I'm being serious. I think one of the main problems in our squad is you could ask 10 Chelsea fans for our strongest starting 11 and all 10 would come up with a different answer. And that's the problem.
There'd probably be about 3 or 4 players the same in everyone's 11 and the rest would be different.
Yeah,
which is worrying.
I think everyone says, oh, you need like 2 really good players for every position. No, you don't. That's bollocks. No team has that. That's team in the world has that. So you look at the top teams who are going to win things, Man City over the years, Liverpool this season. You say to someone, what's their strongest starting 11? You could name 9 out of the 11 easily.
Every time.
Who would start every week without question.
Yeah.
You look at Liverpool this season. Alisson, Trent, Konate, Van Dijk, Robertson, McAllister, Gravenberch, Salah.
Yeah.
That was already half their team named.
Obersley.
And you wouldn't drop any of them. Whereas ours, it's a bit more like, well, I could take Sancho out and I could put Neto in. It's not going to make any difference. I could take him out and put him in, mate. It's not going to make any difference.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
You say about Liverpool, I've just looked at their bench for yesterday. Now, none of these players I would consider are world-class replacements. I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying they're not world-class or top-class. So you've got on the bench, you had Kelleher. He's decent. He's not top class.
But he's a number 2 to Alisson.
Exactly.
He'd be our best keeper.
Yeah, well, Tsimikas, Endo, Gakpo. Pretty good, Gakpo is.
He's had a very good season, Gakpo.
Elliot, Kwanzaa. Decent players. Darwin Núñez. Moving on. Chiesa, who, I'm sorry, I was so excited about him at Fiorentina, and he's just dropped off, which is such a shame. And the only other player I'd say, he's a good player, Jota. And I wouldn't say he's...
And you're right. None of them are stars.
Yeah.
And, our team used to be the same, didn't it?
Oh, yeah.
When we had that clear spine, everyone knew they was playing, and then you'd have your rotation players. You could play Malouda or you could play Kalou. It wouldn't really make a difference. You always have 1 or 2 on the bench and 2 in the starting 11 who can alternate in and out. But the middle of your team should be set in stone. Good teams have a spine that everyone knows is going to play every game if they're fit. And
we just don't have that yet. We just don't have it yet.
You can name it now. You'd go Cech, Terry, Lampard, Drogba. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
They're easy every time. Easy. I suppose because did we all have Jorgensen?
No doubt, right?
Okay, so who I was going with next was Enzo Maresca.
Yeah, he's on mine.
Yeah. Look, his post-game press conferences are like a sequel that never should have been made. Each one, I think...
Someone just needs to remove his voice box.
Each one is worse than the last. So what did we get from this one? The performance and the reaction from the last game was good. It's a tough one. We didn't deserve to lose. Oh, dude, according to FOTMob, so you could go, that's not the eyesight test, Mike. Well, hang on. Aston Villa had the momentum for most of the game. They bossed possession, created more big chances. And hold up, I'm going to bring my own evidence to disprove his claim about that we were good. I'm going to call a key witness to the stand. It's called my eyes. Told you they were coming. Now, what I saw in that second half, I saw Villa dominate us. That's what I saw. Yeah. And then to top it off, what did you do? Enzo? You did the Potter special. They gave everything. Now, look. We all remember, everyone remembers how Chelsea fans reacted when Potter rolled that line out every time. And you're saying it after another poor performance with that second half.
It's not
honestly, he would be better. Maresca right now would be better off skipping post-game pressers and just sending out a PDF with we move on to the next game. That's what he'd be better off doing.
We'll do better. Sorry, that's
no
it.
one, yeah, no one comes out of those press conferences going, "Oh, I'm motivated." They're like, "Oh, same again." Then.
The thing that annoyed me about Maresca, he's not a loser for me, but the thing that annoyed me about Maresca is, and maybe it's not necessarily all on him, but he clearly at the moment really doesn't trust who's on his bench, because Trev went off with a knock. He's out for 7 to 10 days. Great, another injury. Tosin came on. That was early in the game. That was forced. The only other sub that was made was Sancho, who came on, and everyone else was just kind of sat there. And I think at this point, Maresca's got to be a bit braver. You don't have brilliant resources. What we said it. I've said it before. It's that Donald Rumsfeld quote: "You go to war with the army you have, not the army you want." We're playing games with the team that we have, not the team that we want. So we're going to have to find a way to use some of these guys, Amugu, and even though he's going to Strasbourg, and Achiampong, because his minutes have dried up for no reason, and George and all these other players who seemingly aren't good enough. When we're absolutely dying out there on the pitch, something is better than someone with fresh legs is better than any player with half legs, and he just needs to be braver.
Go on, Chris. Why was he a loser?
I mean, I will start this by saying I was happy with the team he started with.
I like the setup.
Yeah. I thought moving James into midfield did work. The balance in there did look better, and Neto up front worked better than Nkunku has been, or Palmer playing there in the last game. Thought the start of the game was really good, and for most of the first half, I thought we was okay. I thought at half time, it's okay. But once again, he showed his shortcomings of being able to manage a game in the game.
Yeah.
So he set us up well. He had a plan. Got to half time, plan was working. Emery went, well, I'll just do something different. And that was it. Maresca might as well have packed his bag and gone home. As soon as he made the subs and they started keeping more width, because I thought what killed Villa in the first half is Ramsey and Rodgers coming and playing as inside 10s just allowed us to suffocate the space, and we found it quite easy to defend with the 3-man midfield in there. As soon as he brought on Rashford and they started having some width, same as Brighton did. Brighton's wingers killed us by staying wide. So as soon as Villa started doing that, we didn't get control of the game again. But I don't see Maresca ever do anything to combat it. It is literally like he goes, oh, fair play. We'll just see how it plays out. And then at the end, I'll go, oh, that didn't work. Well, I can't wait to review that on Monday. But like, do something about it now. Like, try something.
Proactiveness. It's so important.
The thing that annoys me about him more than anything is the fact, like you just said, Ollie, he's not trying anything. He's moaning about a lot. And he's coming up with a lot of excuses, but they only land if he's trying something. If he's bringing on the waste of time centre midfielder we signed who will never play in a Chelsea shirt, and he's bringing on yeah, that's fair. He's bringing on Achiampong and he's bringing on Tyreek George, and okay, they come on, they're young, they don't have any impact on the game, but at least he's trying. And then you can say, well, we're struggling because these players aren't ready. He's saying that now. We haven't seen them. So you don't know. I don't know whether they're ready or not. You're assuming that as well. Like, you can't say that until you've done it. Tyreek George could have come on and played an absolute blinder and scored a goal. You just don't know.
And you never know when that's like it could be, and you never know when that could be like a coming of age game for a player. Maybe after that, performances in training go up a level, confidence goes up a level, integration in the squad is solid. Like, if you don't give these guys a chance, at the end of the day, I know, we had to use one sub period early, but in the end of the day, you got 5 subs and we used 2 of them, and we were forced to use 1 of them.
And you look at it,
and got to do something different.
If I'm on the board now and he's coming to me and he's saying about we're struggling because of this, this and this, I'd be saying, well, hold on a minute. Let's look at Brighton. We love to look at Brighton. We seem to model everything we do on Brighton. They signed that Minter from Newcastle in the summer. barely kicked a ball in the Premier League. Starts every week. And he's been really good for them. They didn't know whether he was going to be good or not, but they gave him the minutes to prove whether he was good or not. Same with Belieber. They signed him. He was a nobody. Caicedo, they signed him. He was a nobody. But their manager's gone, here's the minutes, go and prove, and you either rise or fall. Those are the choices. You
and
can't...
if you fall, the next guy will come along and maybe he'll
Exactly.
rise.
You can't just sit there going, oh, Tyreek George, we might have to give him minutes, but he's not really ready. How do you know? How do you know he's not ready? The bloke don't play. If the kid don't play, you're not going to see him. That one Yeri at Arsenal, before Saka got injured, no one knew who he was. Then he's come in and he's had a few good games.
16 years old or whatever.
Yeah, you have to give these players the opportunity to play. Then you can say, oh, actually, we're struggling because, George isn't quite ready for this level yet. And we haven't got depth in this area, but we're playing these kids and it's not really working. But you can't sit there and say that when you're not playing them, because all you're doing is you're just making yourself look like an idiot.
You just may as well not have anyone else on the bench. It's like they're there for window dressing. If they're not going to be there to actually be an option to bring off the bench, why are they there? Because they could be getting valuable, a lot of the younger ones at least, can be getting valuable minutes actually playing football in the youth setup.
Ollie, second loser up.
Yeah, next one for me is sloppiness, just generally, especially in the second half. I saw it a little bit in the first half. There was a lot in this game, and especially from Gusto and Reece James. I thought it was most prevalent, but to be honest, everyone seemed to have their moments at times. Just wayward passes, passing it out of play, giving the ball away unnecessarily, not really knowing where each other are going to be, poor touches, all this stuff that you just think you're being paid a stupid amount of money every single week. How are you not controlling the ball better? Because some of them look like they can't trap a bag of sand at the moment. And this sloppiness it's really eking into our season, because I read something the other day that said that from winning positions this season, we have given up 13 or 15 points, something like that. And if we had held on to even 2/3 of those points, we would be comfortably third. Third. We'd have absolutely no problem. Top four would be more or less nailed on. That's Champions League football sorted. Bob's your uncle. But this sloppiness that is eking into our game every single week at the moment has got to be ironed out, because it's what's costing us points at the end of the day. It's costing us games, it's costing us goals, it's costing us points. It might cost the manager his job. It's going to cost half of these players their role at Chelsea if they keep going. What are they working on in training? I just don't understand. If it's not, because we've been told, or at least we seem to understand that they're not playing games of football necessarily. They're doing a lot of drills. They're doing a lot of technical stuff. They're doing a lot of shooting. So why can't half of them pass to each other? why can't half of them trap the ball even when they're tired? Something's not right about the way that we're doing something in the back end, it feels like, because this sloppiness at this point in the season, especially, I know it's a long season, maybe there's some fatigue there, but you've got to be sharp as well. We've been playing the season for what now, 6-7 months?
Yeah.
Surely by now, your instincts are honed in. You know how to trap a ball. You know how to pass. You know where your teammates are going to be. You know how to communicate with each other. You know where to look around. Right?
I do think, though, the sloppiness, the sloppiness in possession, I do think comes from they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, maybe they don't, but you think they should by now, right?
Surely. We don't look like a team who understand what we're trying to do. When we've got the ball, what are we trying to do with the ball?
Not a lot.
Because sometimes we're playing, even in this game, sometimes we're playing quite direct. So it's normally one pass from defence into midfield who turn and play a channel. Not a problem. But then the next time, it's 5 passes around the back into midfield and back again. Well, what are we doing? Players have got to know where to move based on what we're doing. If we're playing slow, keep ball, then players can move in relation to that. If we're playing longer, then players are going to make different movements off the ball. Your midfield can be a little bit more spread as well. rather than having to be quite close together. We just don't look a very well coached team. We don't look like a team who know what we're meant to be doing, both in and out of possession.
And is it just too complicated for them? What Maresca's trying to like drill into them? Like, is it you're trying to teach quantum physics to kindergartners, right?
Do you know what? I think it might be boring.
Maybe.
Because when I watch us, I'm looking at a load of footballers to me who look bored. They don't look infused. They don't look excited. They don't look energized for a game. They look like they're going out and they're trying to be too methodical. And it's you be here at this time and you make this pass at this moment and then you move here after he's made that pass. Football for me can't be played like that. And I don't think the best teams do play like that. And I think this all comes from Man City under Pep are the only team I've ever seen pull that off, where you can see them score goals off routine set movements and passes and timing of that stuff. But they're the only team who's ever done it.
Yeah,
everyone else is a little bit more.
A bit of passion, a bit of bravery, a bit of creativity, trying something, and it all coalesces together if you've got the right individuals who can motivate each other in the right moments to get the best out of each other. And maybe that is what it is, Chris. And maybe that they're also afraid of doing something wrong, and they're also bored with not being able to do anything different. That sloppiness just creeps in over time.
Yeah,
and it kind of does say something a little bit about if they are bored or not, because when we tried to play something different against Villa, and in the first half when we were playing something different and nobody knew exactly quite what they were doing 100%, so there was a bit more license to do things a bit differently, we looked so much better. We looked creative, and we were we were spraying balls around, we were trying to create space for each other, and then it just seems that every week it devolves into this ugly sort of passing back and forth and shite, and it just
you have touched on it. I mean, I'll say my final loser because I've got Enzo Maresca again, because I kind of got the vibe that he might be losing that dressing room. Because
I think he lost the dressing room a while ago.
I can't understand what explanation I can give other than that for that second half display, because we went 2-1 down and there was zero urgency. We just sort of aimlessly, like you said, we knocked the ball around the back like we were just going for a draw. Gusto, I love Gusto. He was doing keepy uppies before a throw-in, like it was a bit of a training set. I'm like, and when he threw it in, he did so with all the enthusiasm of someone clock watching on a Friday night shift that they didn't want to do. I was like, what's going on here?
You know what was funny? So we're 2-1 down. We go into injury time. I think there was like 4 minutes added on, was there? It wasn't long, was it? I think it was 4 minutes injury time.
Yeah, something around.
2-1 down, 4 minutes to go. Do you know how many crosses we put in the box?
Oh, tell me.
1.
Oh.
In injury time, we put 1 cross into the box. And that
David
was
Moyes
Reece
wouldn't
James.
have done that. David Moyes
That was Reece James. Reece James put it in. They headed it away. We rotated it around for like 10 more passes, and then the whistle went.
It was
and
pathetic
you thought, well,
to watch.
We haven't even tried. There wasn't anyone taking a shot from 30 yards, just, winning a corner, hoping for a deflection. There was no put the ball in the box, make them defend. There was nothing. And so I seen someone say, I can't remember what, it might have been on TikTok. Hasn't it been interesting during this poor run that not a single player has come out in public support of Maresca?
Interesting that. That's interesting.
Whereas last season,
a lot of them have said things like, we'll keep going, we need to do better, things like that. But none of them have said, we back the manager.
That's because I don't think they're fighting for him. I think they've checked out.
Whereas people have shown social media posts or quotes in interviews after poor results last season, where they was publicly backing the manager.
Yeah. I mean, tactically, Chris is right how he set the team up. Maresca started well. He exploited Villa's high line. He used, the Ian Maatson runs. Oh, man, he exploited them. But, of course, Emery adjusted and Maresca just had nothing. He had no answers, no tweaks, no response, just vibes. One sub one tactical change sub that obviously the Chalobah one can't really include that as tactical because it wasn't. Villa took control after that 25th minute in the first half, and it was game over. It was like, I don't know what to do here. He's out coached me. Oh no, what do I do? And you just can't work like that. Look, I get the whole if your plan A doesn't work, do plan A better. No, you've got to adapt. You have to adapt because if you don't adapt, you go backward.
The thing that worries me with it all is Leicester fans said the same thing last season. Like they had a good starting run, and then after Christmas or so, it kind of just fell by the wayside. The football got stale, it got boring, nobody could really get behind it, and they just sort of crept and sort of staggered over the line in the end. Fair enough, they won the championship. And the thing is, seeing that now replicated almost like for like here says to me that it's something to do with the way he's coaching them. It's something to do with the way he's holding training sessions. It's something to do with how the players are responding to what he's trying to do. And so he's got to do something else.
How many Leicester players came out and said they was disappointed when he left?
But they did do that weird thing over in that nightclub. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what else. They were like, oh, Maresca or whatever. That was when maybe they just didn't like Steve Cooper. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Run your losers out. Who have you got left, team?
I've just got one left. Does anyone else have one?
I've got one left.
Go on.
Go on, Chris. You go first. I've spoken a lot.
Cole Palmer.
Yeah, should have won us the game. Didn't.
Also though, this is the first time I'm putting Cole Palmer on the losers list because of Cole Palmer, and not because of the system. Because he was back where I think he's best on the right wing with freedom to come inside and play and pick up areas. And I thought first half he did that. I thought he looked more threatening and more involved, made a few runs in behind. But again, second half, when it got tough, he gave up. He threw the towel in and thought, I can't be bothered. The Cole Palmer from 2 months ago puts that chance away. Once he sees Martinez fall on his arse, he chips it over him. But the one that got me was the one where later on in the game, where he had the ball central, was trying to work an angle to shoot, realised he couldn't. So he tried to slip the pass through to Nkunku, overhit the pass, and then threw his arms up and had a go at Nkunku. And I thought, mate, that is a shit pass. I don't know who you're moaning at there, because that's all you. You've made the mistake. Seems at the minute like he's putting himself on a little bit of a pedestal above his own teammates. People are saying, wow, he's lost confidence in his teammates, so that's why he's not doing the right things. What makes him a poor player then? Because
he's also lost confidence in himself, though. The way he's snatching at shots and stuff at the moment. Earlier in the season, that chance he has to win the game, he buries that. He just chips Martinez. It's no problem.
Yeah, and even the one earlier in the game on the edge of the box where he opened up the angle and he put it wide. He scores that earlier in the season.
Yeah, and he had two in the Brighton game. He should have at least got on target as well. It says to me that, yes, he's a player that's low on confidence, but nobody's bigger than the team. Even if you're the best player on the team by an absolute million miles, which he probably is, you can't do everything yourself, and you can't be expected to. And maybe he has been expected to, but at the same time, he's got to. I know it's harsh to dig him out, but he's got to do better. Who's
your final loser then?
My final loser is fitness. It's a really quick one. Because I mean, and again, it kind of goes back to saying, like, I don't really know what we're doing in training and stuff at the moment, because it seems that we die a death on the pitch every single game we play. And I'm just thinking, if these elite athletes can't run for 90 minutes, what the fuck are we doing in training at the moment? Because everyone, I could visibly see everyone on our team, more or less, was tired by 60 minutes. Like, and not tired, like exhausted. And they had to play another half an hour on top of that. By the end of the game, like, I was surprised any of them didn't collapse. And it got me thinking, Villa played twice since we last played.
Yeah.
And in the second half, they outran us.
Yeah. I think you hit the nail on the head earlier, though. I think when you said that all the talk about training has been, It's a lot of little practices. It's a lot of tactical work. We're not match fit.
Yeah,
You get
maybe.
match.
Worrying.
You get match fit by training at an intensity in the week.
Yeah, that was Terry
it's-
always used to say that, didn't he? Like he's come out a few times and we've seen him say that like you did every training session like it was a match. That level of intensity.
Yeah.
And I just don't see it from our squad.
But
at the moment.
if we're doing a lot of tactical work, so even the games that we're playing in training are tactical, where they'll be at a slower intensity because it'll be about moving pieces into the right place, and there'll be a lot of stop start. They're not getting fit. They're not playing at any point at any
you've
sort
still
of
got to run
intensity.
back on counter attacks. You've still got to take the opportunities when you've got them. And if at 75 minutes or whatever, you're jogging about the place and walking around in training or in a match, you're never going to be in a situation where you're going to have the fitness to be able to do what you need to do, push that little extra 10%, go the little bit extra distance to actually make results. It's a big difference.
If only we had a manager in charge who understood the value of fitness in the team.
I know. Right, emojis. I you know what? I've got a good emoji. It's another game, it's another poor result, it's another negative result. So you know what? I've gone for the same emoji. I'm not even putting the effort in myself. I've gone with the shrug. Oh, so used to it now. What have we got?
You like the shrug now, don't you, Mikey?
Yeah.
I love the shrug. It's perfect.
It's a good meme for the show. I was going to go with the shrug. Let me find a different one.
Why? They didn't put the effort in?
Do you know what? I know it feels like that sometimes on this show, but we have to give the listeners something to listen to. There are people out there right now walking their dogs, driving to work, and we turn up for you every single week, even if Chelsea don't.
We try.
I'm going to go with the upside down smile.
Yay!
That sort of like sarcastic smile, because I was just like, I thought in a sense that we'd get absolutely battered by Villa, and in the second half that kind of did happen, but
yes.
I don't know. Maybe it was better than I thought it was going to be in terms of performances, but still nowhere near to what we want.
Come on, Chris, deliver one.
I'm going to go with the shocked emoji.
Because he's not.
Yeah, with sarcastic in brackets, because when Villa scored the second goal, I don't think I've ever been so unshocked by anything in my life.
No.
Here's your combo. It's shock, eye roll. That's what you have.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Lion of the Week. We'll check out what we did pick. Chris has won. I'm going to give Chris.
Yeah, he picked Enzo, didn't he?
He picked Enzo. I went with Nkunku. Ollie, you went Caicedo. He was all right.
He was all right, but Enzo was the clear winner. The
wheel went with Palmer. I don't know what he was thinking. So we are giving it Chris. And the actual, I think it's got to be Enzo, hasn't it? He was, he scored. Fucking hell.
Yeah. I thought he was our best performer on the day.
Lowest of standards, but no, he did all right. He did all right. So, Southampton. I'm going early. I've gone Pedro Neto because I was very impressed with him on that Villa game.
Can I go with the protesters outside the ground?
Oh, yeah, that's happening. That's happening tomorrow. That's true.
Big up to everyone going to Bovril Gate, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. The wheel went with Cucurella. Okay.
Damn it, I have no idea. I'm going to go with... I was going to say Tyreek George, but he's not going to play, is he? No. I'm going to go with... don't let me down, Sancho. I'm going to go with Sancho because it's...
Okay.
Southampton will sit back.
They will.
In theory, it will be his kind of game to unlock.
Yeah. Chris?
I'm gonna go with Palmer. I think bottom of the table team, his individual quality, he's bound to do something. Honestly, I can't state enough how shit Southampton are. We could win this game 6-0 and it would not alter my opinion on anything.
Because it's time for our match preview, because we're welcoming Southampton to the bridge for our Tuesday showdown, or the Southampton ticket, as some clubs call it. The vouchers being redeemed. So here's the scoop. The state of Southampton. Now, I did appear on another podcast for Southampton with my own little prediction on that. But
very nice.
Well, we like to, spread out and, we help our... as soon as we got the DM, I was so honoured when... in that number podcast. And I was like, yeah, I'll happily do it. But look, where are they? They sit at 20th in the Premier League table. That's bottom, listener. They have a record of 2 wins, 3 draws, and 21 defeats. Recent league form, 1 win. Well, that's worrying. And 4 defeats. They're rock bottom of the table on 9 points. The player spotlight, I'm saying, honestly, it's Aaron Ramsdale. He's their best player. And when your goalkeeper's your best player, it ain't great. It ain't great.
And he can't concentrate for 90 minutes. So,
well, the last time Southampton beat Chelsea was the 18th of February 2023 when Miley Cyrus's, well, she was number 1 in the UK chart with her song Flowers. And I hope to be handing
do you know what?
flowers
That's the first okay song you've said in a while.
I am just
that
hoping,
song is mediocre, but it's the best one.
I am hoping we're going to be handing flowers out on Friday's show and not asking them to be given to us as we cry into our DH Gate Chelsea shirt. So,
do you know what's really depressing though? Is that every time I'm always expecting it to be further back since we last lost to a team, and they're all in this decade, and it's sad.
Well, I've just realised I went too early with the Lion picks. I meant to do it after the preview, but fuck it, we've done it. We've done it now. And questions. It was I tell you what, listener, you sent so many in. I've got multiple screenshots, so obviously I can't do them all.
You specifically, Thomas. Yes, we're watching. We know you're there.
Let's have a look.
Someone called Thomas is really freaked out right now.
You know what? we've got SS Troma. When we lead 1-0, I feel zero confidence that we will win. Does anyone else feel that too? Yes.
Felt like that since 2022.
Well, they also go on to say, I think we should change the focus to the women's team. They deserve more of attention. I 100% agree with that. And that is why we give them always their credit. Obviously,
and it's also why we give the timestamps for those of you who don't give a shit.
Damn right. JRMT1, why are we so bad once we've scored the first goal? I've noticed that. It's so weird. We score and then we just go, that's it, boys. We've won.
Yeah, do you know what? If games were 20 minutes long or it was, next goal win, it was golden goal from the start, we'd be top of the league.
Yeah.
J_MC09. Which player has disappointed you the most this season? I'm guessing they mean Chelsea, which is completely fair.
It's fresh in my mind because of the Villa game where he was really bad, but Gusto this season, I really did think he would have all the fundamentals to be able to invert properly this season, and he's let me down massively.
You know what? I don't know how Chris will feel on my pick. Mine's actually Christopher Nkunku, because we wrote last year off because of his injuries, and we thought, he's had to battle that and the injuries and coming back. He hasn't really properly had that pre-season go, and he's been shit this year. The Conference League, it's not a real competition. Let's kick that out a minute. The fact that imagine this time last year, if you'd have said next year we'll be happy to sell Nkunku, and you'd be like, are you taking the piss? And now we're like, yeah. I wouldn't be upset.
I think I would have been on board with that at the time, to be honest with you. I think I was one of the few people that caught Nkunku as a fraud early.
It's just so, oh man, it just sucks. I don't know who you think, Chris, has been the most disappointing.
Yeah, it's got to be Nkunku for me. I think when we was doing predictions and that in the summer, I think I had him in high regard on some of those predictions. So the fact that he barely plays doesn't help. And then when he does now, he just does. Do you know what? He looks like an outcast in his own team.
But do you know what? Half of them seem a little bit like that. If you know, like they're playing within themselves and they're unsure of their futures and they're not sure what they want to be doing and all this, that, and the other. So I don't know. A lot of them seem low on confidence, and this
worries me.
Man.
This is what worries me. So I'll give you the stats. The Premier League, he's got 2 goals in 22. In the FA Cup, 1 in 2. EFL, 3 in 2. And the Conference League, 7 in 7. Now, you could go, he's scoring, but look when we exited those competitions. Obviously, the Premier League, but that's a worry. He's scoring against
we exited the Premier League in mid-December.
Do you know what? The only thing I would say, though, if you wanted to look at those stats in a slightly alternative way, would be in the competitions where he starts, he actually performs.
Well,
he started against Villa.
Could you tell me the last time he scored a goal in the Premier League?
Bournemouth away?
No. It's 4th of December. Could you tell me the team?
No.
Don't overthink it. Don't overthink it.
Southampton?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
like,
yeah, he did
oh,
score
no.
past Southampton, yeah.
Oh,
Everyone ate
no.
that day. Do you know the thing
Um,
that's concerning me about the rest of the league, though, is I was looking at this the other day and I was looking at the fixtures we have left. I know that's a little bit early
Wow.
because there's sort of like 12 games to go or whatever, but I was looking at it was going to be us, Forest, Man City, and Newcastle. They're really the four teams ish that we're probably going to be pushing for anywhere from sort of third to fifth, right? Like two of those
Yeah.
two of those teams will get two of those spots. And we have, other than Forest, we have the hardest run.
Oh, the
left.
last four is fucking abysmal.
We have to play first, second, third, and fifth between now and the end of the season. And Man City's run is the easiest by far.
We play Liverpool, Newcastle away. We welcome the chaos that is Man United, and then we finish the season at Forest. And I'm like, that's tough.
We've also got to play Ipswich, who we've lost to, Fulham, who we've lost to, Everton, who
you know
against,
what?
and Brentford, who are our bogey
I would
team.
agree.
So it's
we've got Brentford, Spurs, and Arsenal, and I wouldn't say, oh, easy. No, they're hard games.
And at the moment, you just can't see where the wins are going to come from, you know.
And because a listener's now saying you're saying Spurs is a hard game. It's a derby. Derby games are always intense.
Spurs know. Is the only guaranteed win on the list.
Can you imagine if we didn't? Oh my word!
Yeah, well, it could get ugly quickly, but like Forest have a harder run. I would say because but other than that, we
right now
every other team seems to be facing mostly bottom half or teams in the bottom half of the top half of the table, if you know what I mean.
All I'm saying is we're currently 7th, and I kind of predicted us to be there. I'm smug. I'm not happy, but I'm smug.
But the thing is, I would say our next two, Southampton and Ipswich at home, even in the form we're in, you know, they're not in
6 points, doesn't it?
Yeah, they're not in any better form. So it's not like they're coming into it full of confidence. I mean,
we lost 2-0 to Ipswich.
Yeah, but Ipswich have just got battered at home by Tottenham. So
Brighton got battered, didn't they?
If we take 6 points from those games, the other teams around us are either playing each other, so someone's going to drop points, or they've got difficult games. So we could quite easily, by the end of the Ipswich game, be third.
Ridiculous, by the way, an indictment on how shit the league has been this year.
Yeah, it's and then you don't know whether, if we win 2 games in a row, whether the players will take confidence and things will pick up. You just don't know, but we have to win the next 2. If we
have to win our next 4,
if we drop any,
including both Copenhagen games,
yeah, but I don't think anyone's going to care about that, to be honest. I think if we don't beat Southampton and Ipswich, I think you might as well chuck the towel in for the season.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair.
I just worry about it though, because it's just, you're looking at that and we might get the 2 wins against them. In fact, I would probably back us to get the 2 wins against them, but I just can't see where the points are going to come from the rest of the season, because between like sort of mid-December to now in the form table, we're something like 16th. It is not good.
You're just hoping that, you know, in those games, Palmer gets a couple of goals, maybe Nkunku gets a goal, and confidence starts flowing, and you get a tune out of a player till the end of the season.
It's the funny thing though. It's exactly the same as Leicester last season, falling over the line, creeping over just at the end. We might just do enough, and that's not good enough, really.
No. Right, we'll wrap up today's show with the end of show game, guessing the player by their career path, and today's theme. Oh, it's dancing. Oh, yes, because today is National Dance Day, because there's always a national day, and I looked it up, and that's what today is. So I've got 3 players who all famously celebrated a goal with a little dance. You know, they got people talking about it, copying it, loving it, you know. So the first player started their career at Tottenham Hotspur, because they want to be known as Tottenham Hotspur, not Tottenham Hotspur. They went on loan to Dulwich Hamlet. And then they went on another loan to IFK Hasselholm before making a permanent move to QPR. And then they moved from QPR to Portsmouth before moving to Aston Villa. Went on loan.
Is it?
Oh, Chris is in.
Teams, aren't they?
Is it Peter Crouch?
It's Peter Crouch. We've had him before, and I
very
didn't know
nice.
if you'd remember.
Yeah, the
But-
robot.
Yeah, the robot.
Yeah.
So for listeners at home, he went on to Norwich on loan, then Southampton, Liverpool, Portsmouth again, Tottenham Hotspur, Stoke City, finished his career at Burnley.
That's
Second
right when I
player-
said journeyman. Like, he had a
Yeah,
great
right.
journeyman.
Second player started their career at Tooting and Mitcham United before moving to Reading, before going back on loan to Tooting and Mitcham United, and then going on loan again to Cheltenham Town, before going on loan again to Southampton, before going on loan again to Colchester United, before going on loan again to Sheffield Wednesday. But he liked Sheffield Wednesday, so he made a permanent move there. And then he went to Nottingham Forest and said, it's all right, I'm only going to stay here for one season. I'm moving to West Ham. And he's still there now.
Is it Mikel Antonio?
Oh, yes. And if you didn't know, listener, he did the worm against Watford. And I just randomly found it whilst I was looking for players that did dances. And I was like, I'm putting that in.
He did do the worm, didn't he?
He did. He did.
I don't think he was known for doing the worm.
No, but I don't care. He's in there for that. He's in there for the dirty dancing. If you want to do the placard where he raised his own cutout out, let's use that. Final player. Started their career at Manchester United before moving to Leicester on loan. And then they went to Birmingham City on loan. And then they went to Brighton and Hove Albion on loan. And then they went to Derby County on loan. And then they went to West Ham United on loan. And then they moved to Forest permanently.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it Jesse Lingard?
It is. Can you tell me his current club?
Oh, isn't he like in Japan or something? Or
He's
Seoul?
somewhere. He's somewhere.
It's like South
stupid,
Korea,
yeah.
isn't he?
FC Seoul.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, I don't know if he's
Well,
playing like actually often.
I think he is playing. Well done, Chris.
Chris,
I was a
aced
passenger in that.
Yeah,
That's
he
it.
did really well there. Bloody
Yeah.
Chris
hell.
did really well on that, and I was also there.
Ollie was there in spirit.
I was
was
doing
like-
my best Nkunku impression.
Yeah, you were. Right, listeners, before we go, just want to thank you for tuning in. And of course, remind you of our partnership ahead of the game, the mental health charities in football, sport, wellbeing and
Go
community.
to their event.
Yes, please do. In Dartford, please do. Treat yourself well. We'll be back on Friday with winners and losers from the Chelsea-Southampton game. We all have hopes. We do. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. So till next time, that is us signing. You've been listening to At The Bridge Pod, a Chelsea FC podcast. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram by searching for At The Bridge Pod. And if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, leaving us a review is always appreciated.